All right, on to lab 10, which is mislabeled as 15 in this document, because this is the original. We're going to be talking about installing and configuring Active Directory rights management services. So what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be installing Active Directory rights management service. We're going to be creating and enabling super users group. We're going to be creating and distributing rights policy template, enabling and configuring the application exclusion. And the lab challenge, we're not actually going to wind up doing. This is more of a theoretical thing. Okay, so here's our scenario. We're going to be installing it. Then we're going to create and enable the super users group, create distributed rights policy, enable and configure the application exclusions. So the mindset here, Active Directory Rights Management Service is a technology used to provide an extra level of security to documents such as email, Microsoft Office documents, and web pages. By using encryption to limit who can access a document or web page and what can be done with the document or web page. For example, you can limit whether a document or a web page can be printed, copied, edited, forwarded, or deleted. RMS helps contain confidential information that stays within the organization, helps limit who can access the data. Another way of looking at what AD RMS is take your online Wiley books. So this is digital rights management is what this is. This just makes sure that you've paid for the service or you have the rights to it, or whatever the document that you're going to wind up consuming. Okay, so first thing that we're going to wind up doing here is we're going to log on to the domain controller, and I'm already logged in as the Adatum administrator, and we're going to go to Tools, Active Directory Admin Center. Don't particularly care for this interface. It's a bit kludgy, but here we go. All right, so first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to create a new organizational unit. Here, Adatum, new, okay, so we're going to have to, in the name text box, we're going to have to call this service accounts. Okay. Move this up so you can see the OK button. Okay. So, you have to click the arrow here. And go to Service Accounts. We've opened up the Service Accounts OU, and now we're going to go New User. And copy this. So, Active Directory Rights Management Service, the UPN logon name, and we're going to give the password a password. And other options, password never expires, and user cannot change the password. So just like the sheet here. Now I have to go member of, and we're going to have to put them into the domain admins. and part of the domain admins. Click OK. Now, we're going to have to go into the clicking the small arrow on the datum and then double click on users. And we're going to create a new user. And the user UPN login. Password. And we're going to have to wind up putting them into the domain admins. Our domain admins. Okay. And new group. Here's our new group. Create a rights management group servers. Users group. You have to give it this email address. Scroll down to members. Just type the first letter of Thomas's name. No, that's not it. Now let's see if we can get it not to crash. It'll probably help if I went to the right area. There we go. Okay, so Thomas is now a member of the RMS users group. Anything else I have to do there? That's okay. You can close this now. We're going to have to go into the DNS server. Forward lookup zone. And then we're going to have to add a new alias, which is a canonical name. And the canonical name that we're going to have to put here, the alias is AD RMS. And we're going to have to add launch server 1 as our FQDN. So that's a fully qualified domain name. Okay, anything else? That's good. Okay, so here it is, it's entered. There's the FQDN, and here's the service name. Okay, we've done all that. Now we're going to have to go into launch server 1. Close this now. Add roles and features. Next. Okay, so we're going to be installing the Active Directory Rights Management. Add these features. Next. Do that. All right. So we just got to make sure that the Active Directory Rights Management service is checked off. Actually, just to point out here, to make this not a movie, this lab does not include installing the web services role. So you're actually not going to wind up seeing exactly what this does, just for the sake of brevity. Okay, once we're there, do install. Okay, features installed. We've done a little time traveling, and when the installation is complete, take a screenshot at this point, and then we can click close. Now in Server Manager, click on the AD RMS role. Okay, in the top of the services section, right-click Configuration Required for Active Directory Rights Management Service. Okay, just like we have here in the screen cap. And in the all service task details and notification dialog box, perform the additional configurations. So that's this little guy here. Perform additional configurations. Okay, so we're going to create a new AD RMS root cluster. Since this is a test environment, we are not going to be joining an existing AD RMS cluster. We're creating a new one from scratch, and this is going to be the first server in that cluster. So it's a cluster of 1. All right. Cluster page, next. Okay, and we're going to use the Windows internal database on this server. By default, it's going to want to be going to a SQL server, so you'd have to create a SQL server farm, which makes this a lot more complicated and require a lot more servers if this is going to be used for production. Keep it simple, we're just going to be using the Windows internal database. Next, domain user account. And we're going to have to click on specify, and our username is going to be this one that we created earlier. And with our highly secure password. Okay, that's added. We're going to talk about the cryptographic mode now. Alright, so by default the cryptographic mode is mode 2 RSA 2048. So that's a very, very good secure cryptographic mode. Click next. Okay, so AD RMS cluster key storage, use AD RMS centrally managed key storage. We'll use that. Next. And we're going to have to put in the password. AD RMS cluster website, we're going to use default. Now, we're going to be using an unencrypted connection type. If we had to do the SSL, then we'd have to create the certificates for it and IAS and all the rest of that we did before in our previous lab. Since we want to keep this under an hour and a half, we're just going to go with the unencrypted. And that's our traffic's going to be going over port 80. And license certificate. Okay, so here is, we're going to change from the default. We created this. Register an AD RMS connection point. So register SCP now. And then click install. Oh, we'll screenshot first. So this shows everything that we have configured. Alright, our installation has been successful. And we can click close. Alright, to manage AD RMS, you must sign out of Windows, therefore right click. Now, it doesn't do that anymore, so we're just going to sign out. Alright, now we're going to go back to DC1. And we're going to go back into the Active Directory Admin Center. Click on the Users OU, new group, now we have to create a group for the who's going to consume this. Group name, and we need the email again. Now here's one thing that's a little bit different, is we're going to make this universal for the group scope. So this doesn't matter how far you wind up expanding out. If you wind up taking over other companies and stuff like that, it'll fall under this universal scope. Alright, now members. You'll learn more about scopes in future courses. Add, okay, domain admins. And we're going to have to add Thomas as well. There's Thomas and domain admins. Once that's done, we'll click OK. And then we can close the admin center, and then we're going to go back to server 1. Alright, so we're going to go in as a datum admin. This part of this is a little unnecessary, but I just want to show you guys what this is here. Okay, so here we're going to go into control panel. Okay, so now we're going to go uninstall program and install updates. Okay, so every time that you run Windows updates, this is where they're going to wind up being. In this particular case here, there's a security update. So KB, that means knowledge base. And here's the ticket number at the time. And it's not in this, it's rolled in now that it's fixed. So we don't have to uninstall this. But I just wanted to show you if you ever had to do any troubleshooting to uninstall a knowledge base article, this is how you wind up doing it. Okay, now we're going to have to log in. ADATM, AD RMS service. Our highly secure password. And we're going to go Tools, Active Directory Rights Management. And take a screenshot of the Active Directory Rights Management Services window. That would be this guy. Once you've done that, in the Active Directory Rights Management Service console, expand LON SVR1. Oh, that's this guy here. Now it's just showing up as local because we wound up creating this. This is an error in the document. Alright, in the Security Policies area, under Super Users, click Change Super User Settings. We're going to enable the super users. In the super users area, change super user group. And we're going to put this in. All right, now I've got to type it in. Make sure I got that spelt right. Okay. And here, just need a screenshot where we're showing this to make sure that it was installed correctly. Now we have to create a distributed rights policy template. So back to DC1 we go, back to Active Directory Admin Center, and we're going to click on the Users OU, and under Tasks, we're going to create a new group. And this group name is going to be Operations. And the email address is going to wind up being operations@adatum.com. Scroll on down to members. We're going to add. And we're going to add Thomas. Just type in T, and we'll do check names since this is only account with a starts with a T. That's why it's popping up here. Click OK. And then we click OK. And close the create group window. Okay, we've done that. Then now we go back to on server 1. And we're going to right click on the rights policy templates. And create a distributed rights policy template. And in the wizard, we're going to go add, language, English, US, and we're going to call this as a read-only template. We're going to give this a description, and description is read-only access, no copy or print. Added, and we're going to go next. And then under the add user rights page, we're going to click add, and we're going to add the operations group. And click OK. Alright, so at this point, when the operations.adatum.com is selected under the rights management section, click view, then grant the owner, author, full control with no expiration is selected. So we're going to give them full control, grant owner full control with no exception. And here we're going to change this. So the content expiration expires after the following duration. We're going to make this 7 days instead of never. And same for the license. The reason that you'd wind up changing this over the default is if at some point you ever change the policy, after 7 days, those new settings will take effect. Next, then require a new license every time content is consumed. And require a new license. So that was the expiration policy and extended policy. So require a new license every time the content is consumed. And we're disabling the client-side caching. And then from that point, we click Finish. Okay. And here we have our misnamed template. Take a screenshot at this point. Get near the end here. And we're going to be enabling the configuration of an application exclusion. So in this case here, we're going to be excluding PowerPoint. So also on server 1, we're going to click on exclusion policies node. That's this guy. Manage application exclusion list. We're going to have to enable this. And in the actions pane, exclude applications. So we're going to exclude. So here's the name this is the data that we're putting in here. So there's PowerPoint and the minimum and maximum versions. And click finish. And at this point, screenshot. And that is the end of this lab.